This is Random Comic Recaps Volume 2, the series where I go through my backlog of comics, reading them and giving everyone a quick synopsis. If you enjoy the idea of this series, go ahead and leave a like now, as it really does help and lets me know that you want to see more. With that being said, let's hop into Random Comic Recaps Volume 2.
Random Comic Recaps Part 11. This is Superior Iron Man issue number 4. Our story begins with a morning talk show in San Francisco, where the infamous Tony Stark shows up, where he announces he's going to be having security drones monitoring everybody, because of course he would. Basically, Tony's like, oh hey, don't worry about it, I'm just gonna cure all crime in San Francisco. Don't look into it. But Daredevil's in San Francisco and he's not buying that crap. The reporter asks Tony, what about the people who can't afford your new app for extremists? What are they gonna do? And his response, you need to try harder, you need to earn more, you need to be better, you need to be superior. Okay. Before any more questions can be asked to Steve Jobs, he flies away, where he's greeted by S.H.I.E.L.D. and Maria Hill because of this green character right here, the Teen Abomination. What a name. Anywho, Steve Jobs tells him that this is private property, get the hell out of my yard. Mark Zuckerberg tells a 13-year-old boy that his name is awful, he's hideous, and to hide in the basement. But Daredevil shows up, accuses Elon Musk of wrongdoing, so Jeff Bezos zaps his brain. Random Comic Recaps Part 12. This is The Flash, issue 41. It features the return of Barry Allen's biggest foe, Professor Zoom, otherwise known as the Reverse Flash. Our story starts off with Barry crap-talking a brand new villain, when things start to slow down as the Reverse Flash comes back, and he's even faster than Barry. So fast, Barry can't even process it. And of course, Reverse Flash crap-talks Barry and throws him off his game. But how did we get here? Let me explain. The book cuts to earlier in the day, where apparently Barry's getting out of the shower. Don't see why that's necessary, but okay. Where he freaks out because his roommate has a rat. Yeah, superhero with a rat phobia, who knew? Anywho, he goes to visit his dad in prison, where he says he has a new lead. He says he doesn't know much, but he heard a name. Thawne. And that sets his dad off, and says, stop trying to look into this. I did it, just let me rot here in jail. When in reality, Henry Allen knows all about Reverse Flash, and the reason he stopped Barry is because he doesn't want Barry to get hurt. So he does what any good incarcerated father would do. Fakes a heart attack, knocks out the only friendly security guard in town, and escapes. Random Comic Recaps Part 13. This is Daredevil Volume 5, issue number 1. And it starts with Daredevil in a brand new suit, jumping off a bridge. He was actually diving to save a man who was just thrown off the bridge by a bunch of gangsters. However, since he's now in water, his radar senses are significantly impaired. After trying multiple times to grab the man who fell off the bridge, Matt starts to worry. His heart rate is sinking. But in the nick of time, Matt makes the save. However, the thugs were still waiting, and Matt begins to throw hands. Unfortunately, his senses are still a little dulled, so he ends up taking some damage. However, this character here, named Blind Spot, comes in and makes the save. And together, the two of them end up knocking out all of the villains. Matt says, we're gonna meet up at 2 a.m. for more training, so be ready. Daredevil brings the man he saved back to Foggy Nelson's apartment, and Foggy's pretty mad. But Matt doesn't have time for these arguments, he has to get to work. That's where it's revealed Matt Murdock is no longer a defense attorney, he's a prosecutor, using both his extracurricular nighttime activities and his day job to put criminals away. The thugs that threw the guy off the bridge go back to their boss. Blind Spot works for him. Random Comic Recaps number 14. This is Tales of the Teen Titans, issue 44, and it's the first appearance of Nightwing. Our story begins with Deathstroke's wife breaking into Teen Titans Tower, telling Dick Grayson, I know you're Robin, there's a traitor amongst you, and I want to help. But Dick Grayson was adopted by the most skeptical man alive, so he wants proof. So she begins telling Robin how her and Slade Wilson got together. And it's your typical meet cute story, honestly. Boy meets girl. Boy and girl get put on the same training platoon in the army. Boy is absolutely vicious with training. Girl volunteers boy for her dad's scientific experiments, which would make him immune to truth serum. Girl's dad says that boy is now in a vegetative state and probably will never go back to active combat. Wait a minute. Anywho, the two of them have a couple of kids and think that life is actually going well. Yeah, that is until one of their kids gets kidnapped. It's revealed that Slade Wilson is actually a mercenary known as the Terminator. TM. They go to rescue their son, but in all the commotion, the boy's throat gets cut, and now he's mute. So his wife tries to pew-pew him and only takes his eye out. Now Dick is Nightwing? Not the first one, because that's Superman. Random Comic Recap Part 15. This is Venomized issue 4. And our story begins with a group of famous characters all possessed by symbiotes, with one of the most deadly being this version of Carnage. Heck, they even got Jean Grey, and she's psychically reaching out to Scott Summers. Back on Earth, Captain America is leading a resistance with a group of characters, including one named Kid Kaiju. Okay. In typical Marvel fashion, Scott Summers is arguing with literally everyone. And apparently the only thing that will take out these symbiotes that are possessed by what are called poisons is anti-venom, who wants nothing to do with this because he doesn't want to be responsible for ending people, even though Venom said multiple times that these people are already gone. But the bad guys show up, and thus a fight ensues. But I have some questions. Specifically, how many Wolverines are here? Let's count them up. There's 1, 2, and a third. Do I hear 4? Oh, good, at least this one looks more comic accurate. Who's Jimmy? Anyways, Captain America shows up to save the day. Or does he? As they're making their great escape, Carnage calls in a tactical Thanos. And now there's robots. Random Comic Recap Part 16. This is Batman issue 15 from the New 52. Our story begins with Batman fighting the Joker on a bridge. Batman leaps through the flames to attack his mortal enemy. Batman only wants to know one thing. Where is Alfred? But Joker gets the upper hand, knocking Batman into the water. Where? He suddenly snaps out of it. He's awake. And he's back home, surrounded by the ones he loves. In comes Alfred, with his face removed, and his hair green. Armed with an axe, that Alfred takes a swing. That's when we realize it was all a bad dream. Of course it was. The entire Bat family start arguing amongst themselves. Apparently, Bruce has been hiding something from them, and it's something pretty serious. It turns out years before, one of the first times Batman fought the Joker, after sinking a dirigible filled with Joker toxin, Batman went back to the Batcave, where he found this playing card, and no other signs of entry. They could have been compromised for years, and Bruce never told them. Random Comic Recap Part 17. This is what if Peter Parker became the Punisher. Our story starts off pretty much the same as it always does. Boy meets radioactive spider bites boy, boy gets superpowers. And he was making a name for himself like he does in the main continuity, fighting Crusher Hogan and going on talk shows. And of course, the universal constant, Uncle Ben gets got. However, when this version of Spider-Man catches up with the crook who took out Uncle Ben, he takes matters into his own hands and gets revenge by using the same firearm that took out Uncle Ben to take out that man, thus giving him the moniker, the Punisher. But our story doesn't stop there, because of course this wouldn't be a Spider-Man story if J. Jonah Jameson didn't have a hate boner for him. I mean, granted, this version of Spider-Man actually removed someone from this earth, so I guess it's a little more justified. After fully embracing firearms, he takes out the Sinister Six, before making his way to the Green Goblin, who finds out his identity, and goes after Gwen Stacy. However, Spider-Man is prepared for this. And yeah, he basically just one-shots Green Goblin, who drops Gwen Stacy. But thankfully she survives this time. Peter gives up the suit and is Punisher no more. No Punisher, crimes on the rise. Frank Castle finds the suit. Random Comic Recap Part 18. This is Batman Volume 3, Issue 36, and it might be an instant classic for me. Our story begins with Superman talking to Lois over the phone, where she asks, "Did you call him?" And Superman says, "No." He says that he's the one who got engaged. He should be the one who's making the call. But what exactly are they talking about? Let me explain. Batman and Catwoman just got engaged, and, unfortunately, Bruce never told Clark. Selina says, "I thought he was your closest friend." And Batman says, "Gordon's my friend." No, wait, Alfred. Batman and Superman are both having issues reaching out to each other, because they feel like it should be the other one's responsibility. So Selina asks Bruce, "Am I the problem?" And he says no. He just wants both of them to talk and figure out why they won't reach out to each other. And right here is the best part of the book to me. Superman begins telling Lois Batman's origin story, and vice versa with Batman and Catwoman. Clark saying after what happened to Bruce as a kid, he should want to tear the world apart. And Bruce saying Clark could. Each of them thinks that they didn't have a choice to be who they were, and that the other one chose to be great. And they don't feel deserving of each other's friendship, but they respect each other. Random Comic Recap Part 19. This is Amazing Spider-Man issue 67. It features Spider-Man fighting the iconic villain, Mysterio. A massive Mysterio is smashing an amusement park all around Peter. Peter does everything he can to get out of the way, eventually ending up in a hall of mirrors, when the walls begin closing in on Spider-Man. Simultaneously, Aunt May wakes up from whatever sickness she's been having, apparently. This woman's basically always knocking at death's door, and he still sacrifices his marriage for her. Anywho, the mirrors are covered with poison, and Spidey makes a break for it, diving through the mirrors into the waters below, where he gets swept away into a whirlpool, slashed out with an axe, before the giant Mysterio raises his ugly head once again. The illusions are getting strong at this point. Spider-Man's on the back foot, so he climbs to a higher vantage point so we can see what the heck is going on here. Where's Mysterio actually hiding? And that's when he sees it. He found Mysterio. But Mysterio's cape is electrified. His webs won't do anything. He has to think.
Wait, I think I might have a way to beat him.
If you say hit him really hard, I swear to God, I will kick you in the dick!
So he hits him really hard. Random Comic Recaps Part 20. This is Detective Comics issue 1000, and today we're going to be focusing on one of the stories inside of it. Focusing on this short story, Manufacture for Use, written by Kevin Smith, drawn by Jim Lee. We begin with two asynchronous moments in time, seeing the Joker fighting Batman, as well as this man, Malone, going to a gift shop. The shopkeeper takes Malone in the back, where he has all sorts of supervillain memorabilia. While the two of them are talking, we see multiple flashbacks of Batman fighting different villains. Each of them seem to be going for a symbol on his chest. Malone is looking for something specific. But what could it be? The shopkeeper brings him over to the firearms cabinet, where he says he has the gun They took out Thomas and Martha Wayne 20 years ago. Malone is immediately interested, and actually pays 1.5 times the asking price. But who is Malone? Matches Malone is actually an alter ego that Bruce Wayne has when he wants to go undercover on the street. Bruce tells Alfred that this weapon will never harm anyone again, as he melts it down and turns it into armor to protect his heart.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like, as it really does help. Consider subscribing to help us get to 100K. And if you'd like to support the channel further, consider becoming a member. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.